Our guest is known by reputation all across the country as a true impresario. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome, if you will, please, Mr. Jim Halsey. It's good to
Thank
have
you, Sam.
Good to see you, my friend.
Honored to be here.
Well, I'm thrilled to death you were able to make it. How's everything in the fast world?
Everything's going well. It's fast.
We're going to talk a little bit about some of the things you've done with your life in a minute, but one of the main things I want to get to is you've been honored recently, and there's been a little bit about it in the press, being brought into the Hall of Fame.
Well, I am honored for the Oklahoma Hall of Fame, but it's not about me really. It's a reflection of all the people that helped me and worked with me all my life, my mentors, my associates, and all the fine artists that I've worked with.
And you worked with a lot of artists.
Right.
Did you, and I have to ask this, we have some video, I think, from the ceremony itself, where the folks at home will be able to see that in a couple of minutes. But when you were there and they were presenting the award, did you ever in your wildest dreams think you'd end up with this honor?
No, I didn't, and I am very honored in it, and of course I'm proud to be from here, but it's just one of those things. You just work and do what you do, and there are things that come to you that are really not anything that you've done to work for, but like I say, it's really an accomplishment of what all the people that have been associated with me have put together and done, and I've been the recipient of the award. So
let me stop me if I get off track here, but this man is probably single-handedly responsible for more careers in the music industry than you can come up with or even possibly think of. Over the years, and I use this in a complimentary fashion, this phrase, your stable has been one of the largest stables of talent that in all of history, entertainment history.
Well, thank you. And I will correct you, not single-handedly. Nothing is ever done single-handedly, even the discovery of artists, which our company's been credited with discovering so many artists. Well, it's really a lot of, I like to tell a story, if I may.
Certainly.
About when you see people at showcases, or you discover them, or somebody sends you a tape, or they come to see you at the office. And in Nashville a few years ago, I had a couple of young ladies come in to see us, and they said they wanted to meet to represent them. And my receptionist said, well, leave a demo, and Mr. Halsey will listen to it, and we'll get back to you if he likes it. They said, well, what's a demo? And I said, well, that's a tape of your music, of your singing. They said, we don't need that. We have our guitar out in the car. They went out and got their guitar and came in our office in the lobby there, and they were singing and playing. Everybody's sticking their head out to see what it was. And they were good. They were really good. They wrote songs. And the fact that they were a mother and a daughter intrigued our interest, because that's an unusual combination. That was the Judds.
No kidding.
So Naomi and Winona. So discovery comes in a lot of different ways.
Oh, it does. When you think back, and I'm not going to ask you to name your favorite artist. I'm not going to do anything obscene like that. But when you think back about the folk you've met and the folk you've worked with, did you ever encounter one that kind of caused you to be tongue-tied a little bit because this person was so incredibly talented?
Well, Roy Clark was that way. He was incredibly talented, and a lot of people helped discover him. We get the credit for it because he started playing guitar for Wanda Jackson. Well, essentially, Wanda Jackson discovered Roy Clark. And from Wanda, the first time she was telling me about this incredible guitar player that she had hired because I'd booked a lot of dates in Las Vegas. And there are a lot of incredible guitar players. But that was in 1959. I've never to this day seen a guitar player or a personality or an entertainer that was spectacular like Roy was. And so we became friends, we became involved, and we're still working together today here.
I know, and Roy Clark's career always struck me as the kind, he was just waiting for the stars to be in a perfect alignment, because he seemed to hit the ground running.
He did. Well, you know, there are a lot of things, and he had tried a lot of things, and other people had seen him, and and I talked to him before that, but it never did mesh. He and I meshed. And it's that combination of a lot of different things that come together at the right time.
And you fellas essentially opened the door to the Soviet Union.
We did. Roy Clark and the Oak Ridge Boys, 40 years ago this month, actually this week, Sam, we opened in Moscow. And the first country music show ever in the Soviet Union, Roy Clark and the Oak Ridge Boys.
And the reaction there?
It was just fantastic. It was unbelievable. And at that time, they only had one television, and it went to all the satellite countries. So if you get on television, you had 750 million people watching you.
Holy Toledo.
Which they did. So Roy and the Oak Ridge Boys became instant stars in the old Soviet Union.
And I recall too, in fact, we talked about this just before we started taping. Roy substituted for Johnny Carson on The Tonight Show.
He was the first country music artist to ever do that.
How did that come about?
Well, he had performed on there for a long time as a guest artist, and it was the relationship that we built and that Roy built with Johnny Carson, the producers, the directors, the staff, and everybody. So Carson was gone every now and then, and they would always have a good substitute. And we always kept saying, let's try Roy Clark, let's try Roy Clark. And finally, they said, okay, we'll try it. It better work. And I remember Roy's first reaction was, because there's a lot of pressure now, the first country music artist to ever host that important show. And at that time, 20, 24 million people a night watched it.
Sure.
And he said, I've got to have an important guest. Who will I get? So he called his friend Bob Hope. And Bob Hope said, sure, I'll be there. At that time, Bob Hope had the highest TV rating anybody in the country. And he had Lynn Campbell. And it was,
what a night.
It was a great night.
You've written a book. And I want to say it's a how-to book, but it's not a how-to book. It's more a book of how to think if you want to get into the business.
In any business.
That's true. It applies to anything. How did that come about?
Well, I had written just a number of pieces from time to time that I either used internally within my company, or we had lectures or seminars or workshops or retreats, and so I had all this collection of writings that I had done. And I got with John Woolley, and I said, John, I have all these writings, but there's no beginning, middle, or end to it. Can you help me? So John actually put it together as a book, all of the writings that I had done over the years. And they're philosophical, rather, and how to.
An easy reading.
It's not an academic book, but it's a book of how to live your life, really.
I know it's done some good for me.
Well, good.
It truly has. And I want to say one thing in passing. We got about a minute and a half. Before you slip out of here, I want to say this to your face, and I want witnesses. To have achieved as much as you've achieved in your life, and to travel the world the way you have, and have to help as many careers, I don't know of anybody, one, who's equaled what you've done, and two, I don't know of anyone who's tried to give back and has given back as much as you have. You've got to be proud of your legacy.
Well, I am, but that's all in the past. I'm looking to the future. And the future's with young people in education, and it's teaching them how to become successful in this business or any other. So all the awards and all the gold and platinum albums, that's great, but it's really the future that I'm looking at.
Congratulations again, my friend.
Thank you, Sam.
Thank you for taking time.
Honored to be here. Appreciate it.
The honor's all ours, believe me. We're going to take a short break, and we're going to come back and get into what's happening next at the Gill Crease right after this.